Good evening, and welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam. It is, what are we now? We're in February, and the Oscars are getting close. So we're here to talk about the nominees for Best Animated Short, and the five movies that are nominated. We're going to rank them, same we did last year. Before we get into that, I kind of want to address the elephant in the room on this. When I went to see this movie in a theater, I went to see it at AMC, and AMC puts before this movie a bunch of trailers, as they do, which is, if you go to the movies, you're going to see a fuck ton of trailers. That's just kind of how things work. And that's not the problem. The problem is, once again, I'm in this situation where last year at the Academy Awards, there was when they did Best Animated Feature, the ones who went up to do it was Halle Bailey and the girl from Power Rangers who played Jasmine and the one who played Cinderella in the live action Cinderella, Lily James. So they go up and they do this, and they're like, "Oh, we're the ones who helped you out, and kept you from murdering your kids while we were dealing with the pandemic. Like, yay, like good, you know." That like we are like we're that's what animation is. It's for kids, and then Lord and Miller put out a very thoughtful think piece about it, where it's like it's diminutive to say that animation's a children's genre. Animation's a medium, not a genre. Um, and it's just we're taking it and we're creating an image you know, with artificially instead of using like real actors. We're using pictures to create an image or to create a movie, and it's like all right, I get it. I get the and I think they're right. I stand. I'm with Lord and Miller on this. Then this happens where I'm sitting here and I'm watching this and keeping in mind other animated shorts from like last year where there's a fucking movie with bestiality in it, and you know the one that ended up winning, I forgot what it was called, but it was the best one that they had, and it's got some pretty graphic sex in it. And here we have a like the second one they showed was the flying sailor, and there's some full frontal male nudity in that, but it's not sexual. And then it's like the one that they put behind the disclaimer, like, by the way, there's gonna be sexually explicit content beyond this point, is My Year of Dicks, which is about a girl trying to lose her virginity, and it's like I there's no nudity in that. Like there's less nudity in that than there is in the other one. It's just language and sexual topics. It's such a weird place we're in right now. But to sit there and then go see this movie and have before it be Mario, before it be Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, or Into the Spider-Verse, which, by the way, no, Across the Spider-Verse. If that trailer in a theater, I got chills. I'm excited for that. To have it be Elemental, to have it be Mummies, which I didn't even know existed until seeing the trailer, and it comes out next week. But like to have it be those movies and it be all this kid centric stuff is like, so you didn't listen. You didn't listen. You like that's what this is. It's you're not paying attention to that. But without further ado, we're gonna get into the rankings, and we're gonna rank out the top the five nominees. Number five may come as a shock, or not, based on how you know me. Number five, I'm going to say, is The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. This was by far my least favorite as I'm watching it because it's so fucking long. It's an Apple TV production with J.J. Abrams producing. It's got, like, credits longer than anything. It's longer than some of the shorts in this showcase, the credits. And it's like, I don't think we necessarily need to have. I, I can't stand it when we have these major productions in these categories, especially when you see like the other ones that are there, and it's like these small like 7-man teams, and you're like, oh, great job! Like that's impressive to me. Having the money of Bad Robot to put together a short film is not something that's there. But it's not just that bugged me. It's that if you want to see the definition of an unearned plot resolutions, watch this short. It's on Apple TV Plus, and you get Apple TV Plus with anything Apple, or if you go to Best Buy and you buy something, they give you Apple TV Plus for free. But it's the kind of thing where it's like I'm watching this and I'm like, oh, like everyone's just talking in motivational poster platitudes. Like I don't understand. Like, and it's like, oh, I see Christopher Robin is in the public domain now because you're not gonna get sued for fucking this thing because it's like this. It's very obviously just Winnie the Pooh, and it's like I don't know. Apparently, it's based on a book. Never read the book. Can't say anything about the book. But I'm looking at this and I'm just like, this is The mole is cute. Um, it's the kind of thing where like I'm watching this, I'm like, can we just move past this? Like, this is the only one that I was like, can we just move on to the next one? Um, Whereas like, and not from a place of like last year where it's like Robin I wasn't thrilled about, but like it was stop motion and it looked cool. And even if I didn't gel with Robin's personality, like no one has a personality in this fucking short. Everyone's cut from the same cloth, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, I don't understand it, and it's not it's hands down the worst of the five. But you can, if you want to watch it, you can watch it on Apple TV Plus. Number four is the shortest, I think, of the nominees. It's The Flying Sailor. It's a Canadian short film. I don't think there's any dialogue in it, and it's just about the story of this sailor who, in 1917, there was an explosion in, I think it was Halifax, and this sailor got blown completely to the other side of the planet. Like well, I mean, 2 kilometers away. He got sent, and he survived. Um, so it's an artsy thing where this sailor is flying through the air, and and he's reliving his life as he's flying through the air, and it's cool. There's some cool animation things, some cool blended live action animation segments that are pretty interesting. It's light on story, and until you get to the end and you get to the part where it's like, oh, this actually happened, I'm just like, oh, okay, now I see what you're going with here. And if it takes that little thing at the end to explain it to understand what's going on, that's where you'll lose me a little bit. So that one I would put down there at the end. Number three, the one that I went into this pulling for the most, because I really wanted at the Academy Awards this year, whoever's up there reading the category to be like, and the winner for Best Animated Short Film is My Year of Dicks. Like, I didn't hate it. I'm not saying it's bad, and that's like the only one that I really didn't like was the first one that I talked about. The boy, the horse, the mole, and the fox, whatever the fuck it was. Like that one was the only one I really didn't like. Um, My Year of Dicks, I like the blended animation styles and how they go from place to place. Like each chapter has a slightly different variation on the animation. The base animation around it is not exactly the strongest, I would say. I think it's the weakest visually of the five nominees. Um, because I'm not a huge fan of the art style for a good amount of it. But when they and that just applies to the base art style. Once they get into the more ambitious, where they're getting more stylistic, that's where it really grabs me, and I really enjoy the stylistic look. And like there's an anime portion, there's a horror portion, and it's like all these kind of things looking more abstract, and it's like all of these things kind of blend together and play nicely with each other, and I think it really works. The base animation style that you spend a ton of time with, I didn't care for, and I think that was really the thing that really put this down as low as it did. The story is great, and I really do think that like it has the best of all of the stories. It has the best arc of any of them. It's just that animation miscommunication for me was the thing. It was like last year there was that one with the girl who had the sociopathic sister, um, and it's just the art style was just abrasive, and I think that was the thing that really kept me from really liking it as much as I could have. Um, Number two is an ostrich told me the world is fake, and I believe it, and I think I believe it. Now, postmodernism is something that I love. I love anytime we have a good man in a movie or something like that realizing where they are and declaring war on the forces around him. Um, and I think that a good amount of that comes from watching Duck Amuck as a child, which if you go and watch that cartoon, it's like a monument to what postmodernism is. If you want to introduce a child to postmodernism, show them Duck Amuck. It's a Daffy Duck cartoon where he's just trying to live through the cartoon, and the cartoonist keeps fucking with him the whole time. And it's just, if you want to encapsulate what postmodernism is, that's the perfect way to do it. This one is kind of that. There are times where it gets out of that, and it does kind of do it, because you got the story of this guy, he's living in an office, and he starts to realize the world around him is fake. And we, the audience, are viewing it through the stop motion camera. So it's all stop motion, but we're viewing it through that lens. And it's like, but the problem is, we, the audience, are being given information that he is not, and there's no clear, cohesive narrative for what he's doing, that he's breaking out of a cycle. And I think that's the only thing that really didn't gel with me with that one. Um, the art's great. I really love the way all the puppets move and the fluidity with which it's done. Um, Putting it through the lens of you're watching it on a camera really highlights how much work goes into it, because you're like the numbers going up constantly, and it's like, holy shit, there's like 700 pictures for this one little sequence, and it's like it's really impressive. Um, and I did really like that one. It's just that one little thing where it's like, I don't know. As the viewer, I don't have to see that the guy doesn't have legs there. Just kind of put the camera somewhere where I'll be able to see that, or see that he sees that, without the camera going into that view and showing me that. That's my only thing I think that one really kind of got caught up on. Um, and number one is, what was the exact name of it? The Ice Merchants, which has everything. And here's the thing: I don't think this is going to win Best Animated Short. I think the one that's going to win Best Animated Short is going to be the boy, the frog, the Wolverine, and the cat that jumped over the moon. I think that one's going to be the one that wins because of money, and because Apple TV Plus has the means to make that one win. Um, I I think the best one is definitely the Ice Merchant. It's this very concise story about this guy who lives on the side of a mountain with his son, and he's an ice merchant. He gathers water, puts it into this thing, it freezes, he breaks it up into ice, and then brings the ice down and sells it to people in the village beneath him. Um, and it's the story of this guy who's processing his grief because he had a death and all of that. And I think that it is the single best of them. The art is great. I love like the way everything looks, and it looks hand drawn, and it might actually be hand drawn. I'm not 100% certain, but it looks great, and the characters are so expressive. They managed to get the entire story out without having any dialogue at all, which is fantastic. And it's just the whole thing about the dead wife just works so well within the confines of the story, and I just, this is the strongest one, like by a country mile. In the same way that last year the vacuum cleaner, or um the windshield wiper, that's what it was called. The windshield wiper was far and away the best animated short last year. This is the same thing, where it takes that intense emotion and does it with a unique art style that makes it stand above and beyond anything that, we would expect from this. Um, but that said, I think that's a good place to leave off for today. Those are the five nominees for Best Animated Short. Tomorrow we'll be doing the five nominees for Best Live Action Short. Unfortunately, there's no theater by me doing documentary. Um, I can watch, I think, two of them I've found on streaming. I could probably watch those two. We could do like a which one of those two is better. That's not a great sample size, and it's not a great way to say definitively if one of them's going to win, unless one of them is far and away fantastic. But I also can't say definitively on that. I think they're on Netflix actually. Um, but yeah. For certain, you can watch the Boy and His Dog, or whatever the fuck it was called. You can watch that on Apple TV Plus. The rest are available through Shorts TV. I think it's a subscription service. If not there, you can go on what's it called? You can go on go to your local theater. If your theater has a lot of screens, they're probably going to be having at least one of them showing the Oscar-nominated shorts selections. So you can definitely check that out. It's definitely worth watching. And look, I've been really hard on the one I really didn't like. It's it's still beautiful, and I'm not taking anything away from the people who worked on it. Like, it has some really really great art. I would say it's got the second best art style out of any of the nominees. It's just I really don't gel with the characters, and it's just anytime a character opens their mouth, I was rolling my eyes because it's like every fucking line is like a platitude from a Minions Facebook post, and I'm like, all right, whatever, moving on. Um, but yeah, so we'll wrap up there for today. You can check out tomorrow. We're going to be talking about the live action shorts, and then Monday morning, as usual, we will have The Last of Us, whatever the next episode number is, I forgot. Next week, we will be doing Emily. I got to change the phrasing on that. Emily on Friday. We'll be doing Cocaine Bear on Saturday, and we'll be doing. I think there's one other big thing next week, and I might be able to squeeze in Triangle of Sadness, if I can. I'm not 100% on that. I'm going to try to. But if I can squeeze in Triangle of Sadness before the Academy Awards, I am going to. So, if you want to keep up to date with what we're doing, go to multipleworldproductions.com. Click on the upcoming events tab at the top, and that will give you the calendar of everything we're doing. If you want to go directly to multipleworldproductions.com/calendar, link is in the description. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars. And feel free to tell us how we're doing. Again, multipleworldproductions.com. There's a contact page. And until then, have a great rest of your week.